Coming up on this edition of the Cowboys Report, updated Cowboys trade targets with the 2023 NFL trade deadline, days away. That's coming up here on Tuesday. We will have live coverage for you guys, and of course, news as it happens. And if you want the Cowboys to do something, it's the poking the stick gif, you know? If you want the Cowboys to make a trade, then like the video right now. The more likes, the more likely it is the Cowboys make a deal. All right, let's talk trade targets here. Linebacker, Azeez Al-Shaair of the Tennessee Titans. I didn't think the Titans were going to maybe be the biggest sellers, and then Ryan Tannehill got hurt. They continue to struggle. You'll see if they win this week. That if they lose, it put them down to 2-5. Shaair was an addition this year from the 49ers, where he was a good football player for the 49ers, but he was buried behind Dre Greenlaw and Fred Warner. He goes over to Tennessee and has been awesome. Go figure. Now, maybe this regime views it as more of a one-year rebuild, not a full 2-3-year rebuild, but I would happily move a draft pick to get Azeez Al-Shaair and I think upgrade my linebacker room. So it's an under-the-radar name, I think, but it's a good name to consider if you are Dallas. Another linebacker here, Jewell of the Denver Broncos. He's not the biggest, sexiest name available on the trade market, but with Leighton Vander Esch banged up right now, he's been productive in the past. Some injury concerns there back from 2021. Great numbers in 2022. Numbers have gone down this year because that entire defense is just not as good. Jordan Hicks of the Minnesota Vikings. And Minnesota's won 2 in a row. That was a surprise. I don't think anyone really believed they were going to beat the 49ers. And now Hicks has played really well as of late and has made some plays. And I wonder if the recent wins for Minnesota, especially if they win this upcoming game against the Packers, means they won't sell. And then it'd be Jordan Hicks and my guy Ivan Pace at the linebacking core for Minnesota. And they just kind of stand pat with where they're at. Frankie Luvu out of Carolina is next up here. Now, I do think to maximize Frankie the most, you do still want to bring him as a blitzer, as a passer. He's not Micah Parsons. Nobody is. But he played a kind of more of a hybrid role really well in 2022. He had stupid numbers. Under the radar, great season out of Luvu, who was a former Jet, by the way. 111 tackles, 7 sacks, 19 TFLs. Again, I think all these guys go for probably a day 3 pick, somewhere in that range, knowing you're light on day 3 draft capital at the moment. I don't know if Luvu's a perfect fit with Micah Parsons already there, but I ain't going to be mad if you trade for him. You're getting an impact linebacker. With your lack of depth at that spot, I would not be mad at all. Now, what side of the ball should the Cowboys trade for? I think offense has more holes, but don't we trust Dan Quinn more than we trust Mike McCarthy to maximize those pieces? It's the pinned comment of today's video. If the ad comes on YouTube, take advantage of it. O for offense or D for defense. Let's go to the offensive line then. It's tough to find candidates, so bear with me here. Not all these names are great. Garett Bolles, if you want to tackle, especially with Tyron Smith once again banged up from that perspective, Bolles is maybe your most doable option who's potentially available. Numbers are fine, not spectacular. Denver's offense has been up and down. Not the best run blocker. Maybe the scheme change to Dallas's would help you out a little bit from that perspective. If you just want to try and go Tyler Smith at left tackle and find a new guard, Michael Onwenu stands out to me. Awesome production in 2022. Not as good this year. He's been kind of forced to bounce around, play different spots due to injuries, etc. Only 5 pressures allowed. The run blocking is low. He's also been a great run blocker in the past. I think he's been forced out of position a bunch. One big issue here is if the Patriots trade away Onwenu, that offensive line, because it's so injured, might become unstable. Like it's just like a complete non-starter that they're so bad up front, they can't afford to trade him because they need to eval Mac Jones, etc. Finally, I think could be available, but maybe you don't want. Cody, Whitehair. The numbers are not very good. 2 sacks, 4 hits, 7 hurries, and a really, really bad PFF run blocking grade, 41.5. That does not move the needle. He can play center. He can play guard. He's a little bit expensive. It's a name we've discussed before, but he's been bad this year, and that really does kind of turn me off in terms of the interest I might have. Who here has forgotten about a subscription? I mean, I know I have. That's why I love Rocket Money. They make it simple and easy to track all my subscriptions in one place, and then they cancel for me whatever I don't want anymore. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, helps you lower your bills all in one place. With Rocket Money, you can easily cancel subscriptions you don't want with just the press of a button. There's no long hold times. We're dealing with annoying customer service. Rocket Money does all the work for you. You've got over 5 million users and counting, and they've saved the customers on average $720 a year with $1 billion in total savings so far. So stop wasting money on things you don't use. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and monitor your money the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. That's rocketmoney.com/Cowboys. The link will be in the comments section and the description of today's show. Let's talk corner. I do think Dallas could make some movement here from this perspective. The big semi-realistic name, it's not going to be Patrick Surtain, I'm sorry, is Jaylon Johnson. Johnson's about as big of a sexy name as you'd be able to acquire, I think, semi-realistically. It'd be expensive, at least a day 2 pick, I believe. Johnson's really good, though. And you're one corner injury away from being right back where you were last year. So if you want a starting caliber outside corner, Jaylon Johnson is the name to call the Bears about. It just might be more expensive than what Dallas wants to do. If you want a starting caliber nickel corner, call the Colts about Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore is an instant upgrade over Jourdan Lewis, who then could become your number 4 corner. Now you feel better about that cornerback depth as well. The numbers are fine. The thing that makes Kenny Moore so talented, the things that make him so good, have been the run stopping. Kenny Moore is an awesome nickel because he can actually make tackles. If you're worried about those outside runs that have plagued you, Kenny Moore helps you. He can stay on the field in rundowns because he is actually a viable run stopper. He'd be a big upgrade in that area. If you want the cheap option, it's Kristian Fulton. Not going to be expensive to trade for. Frankly, I don't know if anyone wants him right now. Kristian Fulton, a second-round pick who I liked a lot coming out of LSU, was great in his early screen. I'm like, oh my God, the breakout's coming. He's going to be so good. He wasn't as good last season. He's fallen apart this year. He's been benched. He's been sat for various portions of games. I think he needs a change of scenery. It might not work. It also might only cost you a 7th. So if you want some more corner depth, I do think Fulton is an affordable piece, and I do think Tennessee would consider trading him, by the way. Now, we are this close to 169K subscribers. Help us get there. Help us be very nice by subbing right now. Let's talk to 2 Broncos wide receivers. These guys are available and fill more different roles. Sutton's the bigger guy. Jeudy's the route runner. Some misinformation out there, though, when it comes to the money. The guaranteed money due this year to Courtland Sutton in total, and this year and next year for Jerry Jeudy. Judy's deal next year around $10 million is fully guaranteed. That's a red flag for some teams. Sutton's making like $14 million this year. That's a lot, and the team would have to eat that a little bit. So guaranteed money-wise the next 2 years, it's actually a decent amount of money. Sutton's been a lot better than Jerry Judy's been, folks. But he's expensive this year. Would Denver eat some of it? I don't know. But for as much buzz has been made about Jerry Jeudy, maybe a bigger threat like Sutton might make a little bit more sense for Dallas. But it would require them to bench Michael Gallup, and I'm unconvinced that they would. So name a realistic Cowboys trade target for me in the comments section. Realistic name, so no Mahomes. Sorry. Get some other pipe dreams later on. Drop that realistic trade target for me in the comments section. 3 players I want to mention briefly. They're clearly on the block. Terrace Marshall is being shopped by the Carolina Panthers. He wants a trade, but he's just not very good, so pass on that front. Hunter Renfrow is also on the block because he's not being used, but do you need a slot receiver? I don't know. Carl Lawson, if you want a pass rusher, he is available. However, I don't know if you need a pass rusher. Because others have mentioned him, I guess I'll make note as well. I don't really want to bring back Zeke. I'd rather look at like a Deonta Foreman or even a Cordero Patterson to offer some more juice. But if you want that power back and remember a guy that knows the team, I know that the locker room would love it. Sure, give the Patriots 7th. Well, it's fine. It's fine. That's fine. It is what it is. But remember, he's the same guy that you cut. He's actually averaging fewer yards per carry this year in New England. The yards of expectation have gone down as well. One big play was called back. Would have been different if it hadn't been called back. But he ain't fixing your ground game. I think that's an offensive line issue. So would you bring back Zeke? Y for yes, N for no. Sound off where else but the comments section. And then your 3 pipe dreams. Don't get your hopes up. Patrick Surtain. I love him. It'll cost you the Jalen Ramsey trade, the initial one, by the way. Certainly not going to be the realistic name out there. Aaron Donald would be so fun. I would also make note that you might see me tweet after the game that Donald went into the locker room and said, "Come get me if you can get me," like Errol Thomas did. It's a troll. Don't fall for it, but retweet it to troll other people. Devontae Adams, meanwhile, I don't think the Raiders are going to trade him. So cross that off your pipe dreams list as well.